Good evening and welcome back to another episode of the pH Breakdown. I am Jono McHugh, and on today's episode I am going to be breaking down a blue Wildebeest hunt, and it looks like it's in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. Let's jump into it. Right off the bat, I love this first opening scene. Just look at that terrain. For me, just looking at that terrain brings back just an absolute flood of memories. I know that every valley there has a potential for an incredible hunt. Every flat ground, every peak, it just has an incredible opportunity for whoever's hunting there. The Eastern Cape is really a magnificent place and has such diversity. I'm not preaching here. Honestly, I'm not. I know that I may be biased coming from the Eastern Cape in South Africa, but it really is such a diverse place. And you can see by this opening shot here on this video. I don't know exactly where this is. I do know where this outfitter operates. I don't know where this particular place is, but just by looking at it, I can already see that this is going to be such a cool hunt. There's going to be a lot of animals running around in this area for sure. Oh, look at that. Man, that is good.
Okay, Troy, I just spotted a couple of zebra just over this ledge here. They're in a pretty close vantage point here to us, so I think we should be able to get an opportunity. Let's just sneak over here and see.
That again, fantastic shot. Look at that. Look at the terrain. I mean, you can see there's a bit of water in the background. There's good vegetation. There's peaks. There's flat areas. What a magnificent spot. Again, I've said this before. I know maybe it's just for the video, but I always like the way that the pH, before the guys are heading out on the actual hunt, just kind of explaining to the hunter what he's seen, what his expectations are, and relaying that information back to the hunter for him to get really involved in the hunt and engaging. So it sounds like they're going after zebra. Let's have a look what happens here.
See if we can find the stallion amongst them there.
Not bad sticks. Camo sticks. Oh, it's a bog pod type of sticks.
Couple of them over there.
Okay, I just want to point out something there. You guys noticed, let me go back 10 seconds. There we go, right there on that spot. You'll notice that the way that the pH has taken the rifle from the client and has gotten set up. I just want to add this here. I know that a lot of people that are going to hunt in South Africa, wherever it may be, 90% of the time, you guys are seasoned hunters. You know what to do. You know how to handle guns, rifles, whatever they may be. I'm sure you're very experienced out in the field. If a pH sets up the sticks, and in this particular situation, just by going off this little footage here, this scene, then it may be that they're tucked in behind one bush and the zebra might be looking their way. I don't know what it is. I'm just trying to interpret from what I see. But the pH is just making sure that he can get his hunter set up in the best possible position. So he's taking the rifle, laying it in the sticks. Maybe just from where they are behind that bush, he knows that if they step out too much, if he moves to the side and tries to get the hunter in behind the sticks, it's going to draw attention to them. So I've done this lots of times. I know a lot of other PHs have done this too. You want to make sure that you just get into a good position. So it's just a case of take the rifle, set it up, and get into a position for your hunter. It's the best opportunity. Don't be discouraged. Don't not let it happen. Like I said, I know a lot of experienced people have been on hunts before. It's nothing sort of demeaning. It's nothing sort of negative. It's just the pH trying to make sure that the hunter has the best possible opportunity for his client to get in there without being spotted or anything like that. So don't take offense or anything like that. If the PH takes the rifle, maybe gets set up, and gets you in the best position. Let's see how this hunt pans out.
Couple of them over there. They're just in the little dip there.
Good group of zebras. I just want to point out one thing. I am not too ashamed to say that when I was PHing, one of the most difficult things for me was always picking out a zebra stallion in the herd. It's not that easy, and it's not that obvious. Zebra, obviously, they don't have horns, they don't have antlers, they don't have anything to really distinguish them from the others. And an interesting thing about zebras, especially if it's not particularly a hot day, if it's quite mild, you can't really tell if it's a male, if you know what I mean, if I'm trying to get at. So a lot of the times you want to get into a position where the zebra don't know where you are, and you can really gloss over them and pick out which is the zebra stallion and differentiate that from the mares. As my time went on, being a PH, it was a little bit easier. You kind of notice a lot about where a zebra stallion will stand within a herd. They kind of have this posture, how they carry themselves, those types of things. I noticed a lot of the times that whenever we spooked, the stallion would always be the one running at the back. But in this particular shot, you can hear the PH just trying to talk and see which one's a stallion. I know if you look to the left, my left, looking at the video, you can see that there's two mares. There's a young zebra foal in the mix. So you can kind of distinguish, okay, that might not be the stallion. Generally, the stallions wouldn't be hanging around with the foals or staying that close to them. So that might be one way to do it. Another interesting thing to point out is from the previous scenes, you can see that these guys are up in the mountains. The terrain is very rugged. It's not flat. It's not that sort of quintessential when you're looking at these National Geographic documentaries where it's this flat grassland and there's just thousands of zebra, thousands of wildebeest out on the plains. You got to understand that when you come to places like the Eastern Cape in Africa, you're going to see animals in terrains and habitats that you probably wouldn't expect to see them. So for these guys going after zebra, you're going to be taking shots across valleys, peaks, whatever it may be. So this is a great example of a video.
You can't really see them at the moment, but they're feeding there. Maybe they'll feed out towards us.
Nice eland running through a little bit closer on the zebra. It's a great shot. Look at this. Wildebeest popped up. So now, again, this is a fantastic example in this video that your PH has set out to go for zebra. He spotted zebra. You guys have glassed them. He's looked at them over. He hasn't found a zebra stallion that he is particularly interested in, or maybe there wasn't even one there. I'm not too sure. Then all of a sudden you see an eland coming through. Then all of a sudden you see a wildebeest coming through. This is a great example of when guys talk about taking what Africa gives you. You can't go out looking for zebra and all of a sudden a bushbuck, a kudu, a great impala, an inyala, whatever it may be, steps out and you say, but we're going for zebra. We have to stick to zebra. Doesn't work like that. So this little clip here is fantastic in highlighting the sheer diversity of the region that you hunt in. This one's particularly the Eastern Cape. It may be Limpopo, KwaZulu-Natal, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, wherever it may be. Africa has a plethora of wildlife and variety. It's an incredible place. But when you're out there hunting, just because you're going after a certain species, you got to understand that may not be the species you come home with to the skinning shed. You've got to be prepared for whatever steps out. And it looks like a really, really nice blue wildebeest bull has just stepped out for this hunter. You hear the baboons barking in the background. Again, not to hop on, but it just shows that the diversity and the array of animals in the Eastern Cape is fantastic. I'm guessing just by looking at the footage, there's not really too much to work here, but you can kind of see that the Wildebeest is on the other side of an upslope. Maybe there's a valley between them. I'm not too sure. We might find out a bit later. But these are the types of shots you need to be prepared for. The vegetation is a little bit sparse. I wouldn't say it's too overly thick, but again, it's not completely flat, open grassland or no vegetation at all. So I'm guessing these guys are really tracking this wildebeest. By the looks of it, looks like a really nice bull. He's moving up and away from the hunter. So I kind of, not to put words in the PH's mind here, but I know if I was in this situation, what you're thinking as a PH is he's getting further and further and further and further away. You know, each step is a couple of yards further for the hunter to take. And with him facing away, he's not going to be offering a great shot at the moment. I don't know what's going to happen here. Maybe he's going to whistle, maybe he's going to call and turn the bull. Maybe he might leave it and feel like it's a bit too far for the client. But these are the types of things that goes through a PH's mind. Is that bull starting to get to a distance where it may be a little bit too far for the hunter, or are we still good? Maybe out of picture, there's a really thick set of brush coming up, and the PH is thinking, we've got to get this bull to stop and turn before he gets into that thick stuff, because once he gets in there, we're going to lose him. I don't know, but these are the things that would definitely go through my mind when I'm hunting with clients.
To be perfectly broadside, how do you feel? The way he is now, it's slightly behind the shoulder, but I'd prefer if he turns a little bit more.
Okay, good instruction there from the PH. You know, just letting the client know that he's angled a little bit away there. I would prefer if he was a bit more broadside. How do you feel? That's really important. That's a good PH. He's just putting it back to the client. He's saying, look, this is how I feel. But how confident are you? How confident do you feel that you can take that shot? It's up to you. This isn't a case of him trying to cover himself. You know, should maybe the hunter put in a shot and really wound the wildebeest, he can't say, well, I told you it should have been turned more broadside and you told me we're fine. It's not about that. It's just about making sure that that relationship between the PH and the hunter is kind of on the same standing. The hunter may turn around and say, I agree, I'm not comfortable taking the shot. And by doing that, it kind of releases that tension. Maybe the hunter feels like, I've got to take the shot because the PH wants me to. But if the PH says, look, I'd prefer if he was a little bit more broadside, what do you feel? And the hunter can say, I agree. Then all of a sudden that tension, that anxiety, it kind of just goes out the window. It just puts you on the same page and makes you feel a lot more relaxed. If the PH was saying, it's perfect, you better take the shot, but you know as the hunter that you're not comfortable with that angle, then all of a sudden you kind of start to feel like, do I take it? Is this the only chance we're going to get? You know, I don't want to upset my PH, whatever it may be. So I like the way that he was just saying, I would prefer it if it was a little bit more turned. How do you feel? And whether or not the client is happy with it, I don't know, but we're going to find out now. Oh, safety's getting ticked off, so I'm guessing he is pretty confident already. Oh. Okay, I'm going to come back 10 seconds. So stopped it in a great spot here. Obviously, little bit of that brush is just covering that front shoulder. He is angling slightly away. It's not a bad shot. I've had clients take many shots like that, many shots that I've been comfortable with. For me personally, as a PH, that was kind of like a second, third, fourth animal position, if that makes sense. You know, once I've seen how the hunter is shooting on the range, maybe he's dropped one or two animals already. If we get into this situation and it's angling slightly away and there's a bush, tree, whatever it may be, covering that front shoulder, but we can still sneak one in behind the front shoulder, I'll be happy as a PH to say to my client, go for it, knowing that he's already dropped two animals or has already proven that he can take that shot. just going back earlier with them setting up on the sticks with those bog pods or those clamping sticks, that really does make a difference for your rifle. It makes it a lot more steadier. So when you look into the scope, I've got 2 sets here with me in Texas. My kids use them. They are very, very stable. And wildebeest is a big animal, a little bit of a bigger target. I know it's not perfectly broadside, but that angle, it's not too sharp. Anybody that is a good seasoned hunter, you should be confident with that shot, especially if you have been practicing leading up to your Africa trip. So for the PH to get him set up in this position with the animal standing like that and then putting it to the client to say, I'm kind of okay. I would like it to be turned a little bit more. How do you feel? Are you confident? Take it. I think that's fine. I think this is turning out to be a really good hunt. And obviously with the shot, just from that first little section there, it looked like the hunter did a fantastic job in sneaking in behind that shoulder. Yeah, good shot. Maybe just a touch high, but can be finicky, but it sounded solid, really did.
And see lung blood coming out there. Can you find?
Very good from the PH there. That shows to me, I can't see anything looking at this footage. Granted, coming from a camera, I don't know how far away it is, but just the fact that PH has said, I can see some lung blood coming out. Good shot. Obviously, first of all, he was definitely aiming for the lungs on that angle. It's really the only shot you could take. But secondly, it's telling me that PH is following that animal with the binoculars. He is on it. He's intent. There wasn't much of a reaction from the bull. It wasn't bucking up, it wasn't falling forward or anything like that. This is kind of normal from wildebeest. They're extremely tough animals. They'll take a shot and then they'll run. But the fact that the PH has got eyes on it is very, very good. And I'm pretty sure that was a good shot.
Find him.
Oh, there we go. Swaying a little bit. Double step in.
Just on the side of the road. There he is. There.
Pulls down.
That is a heck of a shot. 310 yards off the sticks. Nice.
There we go. 310 yards. I don't know the caliber that this hunter's using. I'm sure it's obviously sufficient for a blue wildebeest bull. Looks like he's got a hell of a scope on the rifle there. I'm not too sure of the rifle make 2, but good steady setup on those sticks with those clamps really does make a big difference. You can see that the guys are standing, and I know that the PH probably wouldn't have put his client in that position if he didn't feel like he could take the shot. Great work by both of the guys there, and looks like they came right on a really, really nice blue wildebeest bull.
Oh, really? Well done, Troy.
Thank you.
Good job, man. That's a really good job.
Look at that. As you walk away from the rifle, it's just steady as anything on the sticks. I know we've come a long way from sort of back in the day where those old school PHs would just take a couple of long lengths of bamboo, probably some old rubber from a tire, in a tire tube or something, and just tape it together and do that. I know sticks have come a long way, but if you've got a preference for sticks and you're happy with this type of thing, especially these sticks are great for young hunters, kids heading to Africa, maybe some hunters that aren't too comfortable on the traditional sticks. Maybe they just want an extra little bit of stability. These sticks really do help a lot. And we can see from here that the 310-yard shot on a wildebeest, again, not too sure about the caliber. That makes a big difference, whether or not you can take a shot at that distance. But just by the looks of that rifle being absolutely steady when the hunter stepped away, shows you that it makes a big difference. So yeah, fantastic.
Shooting.
Let's see what that bull looks like.
The monkey's off the back.
Yes.
Awesome, man.
Great shot. A little bit of B-roll footage here, bit of extra diversity to throw into the video.
Look at that, man. What a brute. Perfect
Oh,
shot. Eh?
Yeah. look at the size of the neck and shoulders on this animal. Blue wildebeests are extremely tough and strong animals. Never go into a blue wildebeest hunt underestimating this animal, because it will surprise you at just how much lead this animal can eat up. Honestly, they are super tough. That is a fantastic blue wildebeest bull.
Wow. What a beautiful bull.
Oh yeah, look at that.
There we go.
Look at that spread. Fantastic. Really nice bull.
Here's your exit.
Exit.
Spot on.
So pass through. It's
Big
interesting.
bosses. See how big his bosses are. Got nice big hooks as well. A nice good.
Just looking at that, if that is the exit, pretty tight and clean exit through that side. I would be interested to know what caliber the hunter was using. Probably if I went through the video, they might say, or could find out. But you can see that exit is middle to the front of the shoulder, which is fantastic, which tells me that hunter, when he was lined up, was pinpoint, was very, very accurate. They always say that if anything is slightly angling away, you kind of want to be aiming for that opposite shoulder, that opposite leg, for when that bullet comes out on that angle. And the fact that if that is the exit, that's really well done.
Bread as well.
Thank you. My first animal.
First animal.
First
First
in
animal.
Africa.
Okay, well, there goes me talking about earlier that I'd really only let that hunter take it on sort of their second or third animal. But first animal, fantastic. Really well done.
We seen some zebra, and
Nice.
we came over top the ridge
Very, very nice.
and thought they were going to.
That's a fantastic bull. Honestly, it is. If you're looking for a blue wildebeest specimen, for example, this is a great one. You can see how solid that boss is, that almost pitch black dark face, good solid mane, long beard, good cracking in the horns, lot of character. The spread on those horns is nice out past the ears. We could see that when he was walking up that hill. A good, strong blue wildebeest bull. I wouldn't say that he's probably an old, elderly bull. Again, I don't know what concession is there, what numbers they've got in terms of animals. The fact that he was by himself is probably, just going by this video, kind of tells me that he's not with the breeding herd. But you can see that this is a mature, old, quality blue wildebeest bull. And to the PH and the hunter, congratulations, guys. You did really good. Well done. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the PH Breakdown. If you did, do me a favor, leave something in the comments. If you've got any suggestions, any videos you'd like me to break down, feel free to send them over. I will, of course, link this particular video in the description below. I suggest you guys head on over and watch the full video and enjoy the experience. Again, everybody, thank you very much for watching, and catch up next time for the PH Breakdown. Cheers.